This is Inside the Locker Room, where football isn't just a game, it's a war zone. Every take, unfiltered. Every prediction, ruthless. From Sunday battles to primetime legends. We break down the matchups, the mind games, and the moments that define champions. Fantasy, film, trash talk, all inside the locker room. So if you came for smoke, you're in the fire now.
We are back with another episode of Inside the Locker Room, and this episode is a special episode. You know why? Because it is our 1 year episode. Now, we did have Noah scheduled to be on with us, but unfortunately, he couldn't make it on with us. But he will be on with us sometime soon. Still got hope. But we haven't been on, me and Michael, we haven't been on with Ben and Adam for a minute. But like I've been saying, we're still all working to make Inside the Locker Room better, and all of us have been rapidly doing better for our each personal accounts. I know Adam's been taking off on Instagram. Ben has been taking off on Instagram with the mock drafts. Me and Michael have been taking off over the HBCU pages. But like I said, we are all here to help Inside the Locker Room, and it's been a great 1 year because we have made so much progress, made so many new collaborators, new partnerships, and like I said on our other platform, I have a lot planned for Inside the Locker Room going forward. And just how are y'all doing today? Ben, I start with you first.
Doing good, man. We're inching closer to the NFL draft, and we were in NFL free agency, as everybody knows, and we'll get into that later. But yeah, man, I'm happy to get into today. It's been a great first year for our show and everything that everybody's getting into. And yeah, man, I'm excited.
Michael
No,
or Adam?
Michael. Either way,
I was going in the word.
It's been it's been a great 1 year. Got March Madness in full swing right now. Tons of upsets happening. Got baseball season just about to start in about a week. And then NFL has been keeping me busy with all the offseason moves. I think we've been averaging like a trade a day. Basically more trades during this free agency than like any years in recent memory, basically.
Yeah, I'm gonna basically say it's been a true blessing to just be a part of not only this team but to be with this team for a year. Um, it kind of today I've just been cycling back in my mind. There's just how it all started for me, and you reaching out to me and being part of this team, and I've just been gratefully excited ever since. And I'm just truly honored and blessed to be a part of this team for a year, and I'm looking to be a part of this team for years to come. I'm truly excited for the plans that we have on inside the locker room. HBCUs. Shout out to Tennessee State and Prairie View for making the NCAA tournament bid, winning the SWAC and the OVC tournament. Like Dude said, we've been taking flight with HBCU content, and just trying to find ways to get in and out of HBCU and all of our teams in general. But I'm truly excited, and I'm just happy to be a part of this team for a year. I'm looking to be a part of this team for a whole another year.
So to start off this episode, we actually will be playing our first episode, or it was one of our few first episodes. Just 3 minute preview of this, and here y'all go.
Colorado's door, and I think that also starts with Dion as a coach, and just also this coaching staff as well. I mean, like I didn't mean to cut you off there, Michael, but I mean, like we also see so many clips of like these coaches just being like super stern and so just as we mentioned before, setting a culture, setting a standard of hey, no hoods and during meetings, or no phones, and no this and no that, and they're doing that for a reason. It's to set the bar, and it's to set the bar high, and then to change the culture. But you hit the nail right in the head there, Michael.
Yeah, and then plus think about this too. They're getting the transfers, and let's be honest. If we go back and look back at the transfer portal, just this past recently, if you look at all the players from before Dion, you're starting to see the growth that Colorado is hitting. Colorado is, I don't care what nobody. Colorado is right. To be honest, they already have. But I'm not saying they're gonna be, Alabama. I'm not saying I'm not saying Deion Sanders gonna be a Nick Saban. Not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is Deion Sanders can change Colorado's program like no other coach could. Deion is not just a Hall of Fame, and like I said,
Well, that was a quick little from 1 year. It's crazy how fast time flies. And unfortunately, Colorado didn't have the season they did last year, but Deion Sanders is still a legendary coach that we still got to have respect for. But I do want to start our official episode off with the off season. It's been a lot of trades, a lot of free agency moves, just like Adam said at the start of the episode. But the first team I really want to start with is the Jets, because Ben, it's just like the Jets are. I don't know what's going on with the Jets right now. And we kind of said it last summer that it felt like the Jets, they knew what they wanted to do, but they just weren't trending in the right direction. We had high hopes week 1, and unfortunately, after that, it just kind of wasn't the same. I'm not trying to take any offense to you, Ben. Just telling you how I see it. But Ben, what are your thoughts on this Jets offseason?
So I mean, it seems like it's a common theme that the Jets sort of, quote unquote, win the offseason every year. But I guess the clear one that sticks out this year is Geno Smith is back in town, and he hasn't been the starting quarterback in a little over 10 years for this New York Jets team, and it's going to be certainly interesting seeing him back in a Jets uniform. But they did take care of a few other positions as well with signing, Minka Fitzpatrick after they traded for him, of course, and a couple of other, nice pieces along the way. I also want to highlight, Nashawn Wright that signed a contract with the New York Jets. He led the NFL in interceptions the past year, so something to look out for. And, just a couple other, players that they acquired during the offseason. Now, is this going to be like a 1-year flip? I certainly don't think so. We're talking about the New York Jets here. But that's what they've been up to. Darren Muji and Aaron Glenn during this offseason. And for the most recent thing, they just traded Justin Fields to the Chiefs for, I think it was a late 7th round pick for next year. So, I mean, talk about great value for the Chiefs. I mean, he's going to be probably starting some games for them next year while Patrick Mahomes is still rehabbing from his ACL. And honestly, for Justin Fields, it's a great situation for him because he gets to learn from the best, and Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes. So, best of luck to Justin, and yeah.
Adam?
Well, Seahawks won the Super Bowl. Yay. It was awesome. And what happens after you win the Super Bowl? But everyone tries to come in, pillage your cupboards, steal your coaches, steal your players. So I'll focus with the losses for the Seahawks first. So obviously, Kenneth Walker, Super Bowl MVP. It's good while it lasted. Had a great run. Love the guy, but he's off to the Chiefs. So that definitely changes the top 10 NFL draft quite a bit because some people had Jeremiah Love going to the Chiefs. But next, Tariq Woolen. That one stung a little bit less because he was in the doghouse a little bit throughout last season. He actually kind of got passed by Josh Jobe. He's more or less the CB3. He was actually taken off the field sometimes, depending on the packages, but still going to be a big loss. Wish him the best of luck with the Philadelphia Eagles. I honestly think it's going to be a great fit. Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, and Tariq Woolen. It's a nasty cornerback trio. So, yeah, good luck to him. Next, Kobe Bryant to the Bears. This one was another one. It's like we wanted him back, but there's a very high percentage chance that a team was going to pay more money than John Schneider and the Seahawks brass wanted to spend, and that's exactly what happened. I think he's going to be great for the Bears. He's a dog. He's great at intercepting the football. Just does those little things too. But yeah, good luck to him on the Bears. Boy Mafe to the Bengals. He wasn't even a starter. He was a rotational guy, but another guy that got a ton of pressures. It's what made the Seahawks so good. It wasn't just one guy. It was so many guys getting pressures. So Boy Mafe gets a multi-year deal with the Bengals. Probably going to have a much more productive year with the Bengals. Just going to get more opportunities. Jake Bobo most recently was tendered by the Jaguars. Seahawks still have a couple days to match. I don't think they're going to. And then maybe one of the biggest ones of all, offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak off to the Raiders. Hopefully we're still able to just continue a lot of what he preached and a lot of what he was able to set up for Sam Darnold and Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet in the running game and all those 2 tight end sets. So hopefully it's not too much of a loss, but good luck to him at the Raiders. I think it's going to be looking up for the Raiders now that he's in the building. But now to the positive things, the additions. So Seahawks re-signed Josh Jobe and Drake Thomas to very affordable deals. Like I was saying, Josh Jobe kind of became the CB2. So that's probably the biggest re-signing. Drake Thomas had that super clutch interception against the 49ers in week 15 or 16. It was the end of the regular season. That was a really important play to the Seahawks run. And then this one really going to go under the radar, but Seahawks got Emmanuel Wilson. He was the backup to Josh Jacobs last year. He's always just been a really good like yards per carry guy. And only $2 million, which was incidentally about what the Seahawks paid Marshawn Lynch the first year he came into town. He runs bruising style, really quick feet for a 230-pound guy. So that's going to be interesting to see. Maybe we draft a guy. I'll get into that later. But we also got George Alani, who John Schneider has been raving about, and don't forget about Kenny McIntosh too. So there's 3 guys that are going to be competing a lot, and there's a lot of touches there until Zach Charbonnet is healthy. Probably the biggest one of all, Josh Jobe, maybe, but Rashid Shaheed, 3 years, $51 million. We saw how that completely changed the Seahawks, both in the kick return game, just opening up JSN, just bombs down the outside of the field. So super stoked to have him back. Just another under the radar one, but they make a huge difference. Josh Jones, he's the primary backup left tackle and right tackle. So good to have him back. A small amount of money, and then. So the ones you don't talk about, but Chris Stoll, long snapper, Brady Russell, fullback, they're really key to having the best in the league special teams. Sorry if I'm getting a little long-winded, but I'm almost finished. And then Rodney Thomas, this is a 1-year deal. He's a really hard-hitting hybrid safety. Should fit right in with the Seahawks. He should compete with Ty Okada to try and become the starter where Kobe Bryant was last year. Then Noah Igbinoghene, I think is how you pronounce it. Cornerback. He's a veteran signing, just in case the Seahawks don't get one of the guys they want in the draft, because they're going to be looking to fill that void at CB3 after Tariq Woolen's gone. And yeah, that's all I got for free agency. There's seems like a lot of losses, but there's also a lot of additions and a lot of hole in the wall players. Seahawks are great at finding those. So hopefully that's the same case again. And we were able to re-sign as much as we could, basically.
Yeah, and y'all's schedules next year is not looking that bad at all either. I mean, we don't have the full schedule released yet for all 32 NFL teams, but
we got an
see
idea of what
home,
teams will be playing.
Yeah, we got the home and away teams, sort of figured out. So, certain things to look for as we kind of, trying to put the puzzle pieces together before the NFL season starts. Michael, did you have anything that you want to talk about with the Saints offseason that you've looked at?
Yeah. So far we're just to give y'all a quick rundown and then break down everything from free agent signings and probably later if I have time discuss the Alvin Kamara and Cameron Jordan situation. But to start all this off, guys, this off season has been really the main term is just to sit back and just focus on rebuilding around Tyler Shaw. And the reason why I say that is because now most Saints fans are already, considering Tyler Shaw as the quarterback of the franchise. I am too, but he did have a very successful rookie year, better than people anticipated, better than the guys that Mr. Brandon that I spoke to on Sportsnet. They were very surprised on how well Tyler Shaw progressed in just those few games in his rookie year. But now, as far as Mickey Loomis and the front office, it's all about rebuilding around Tyler Shaw and taking the first season under Cullen Moore and try to progress into instead of a losing season. Now we're trying to get in that position of winning the division and also being one of the top teams in the NFC as far as playoffs. But to give y'all the breakdown of the notes that I took so far today, and it took me a while to get all this down, but I'm gonna try to be quick as possible with this. So the New Orleans Saints have been uncharacteristically aggressive in the first wave of 2026 free agency, prioritizing a major overhaul of the offense around young quarterback Tyler Show, like I just explained before. It's basically time to build around instead of break down. By aggressively reconstructing veteran contracts like center Eric McCoy's and Carl Granderson's contract. Now, the front office opened enough cap room to land several high-tier starters while navigating the departure of ironic leaders. And I'm going to get to that in just a second. Now, here's my major roster additions. The Saints target three major areas: the run game, the offensive line stability, and the tight end room. Now, for some of y'all who don't know, David Edwards, offensive guard out of Buffalo, I think that was a huge signing. Uh, he was kind of on my radar before free agency started. Uh, the Saints, we signed him to a 4-year, $61 million contract. Um, I think that is a fair contract. I think that's a great contract because the main problem that we had, last year, was the offensive line. So you bring David Edwards in, and he's not a random. He's actually very well known on the offensive line, especially for the Buffalo Bills. If you looked at his highlights, that highlights speak for itself. Now I think this is what's going to trip everyone out. The Saints got Travis Estienne Jr. I think I said his name right. Running back out of Jacksonville, signed him to a 4-year, $52 million contract. I think that is a great contract, despite of what is going on with the Alvin Kamara situation. I will get to that in a second. Caden Ellis. For some of y'all don't know, he was part of Demario Davis' dominant linebacking core before we let him go, and he was with Atlanta, who played a big major factor for Atlanta's offense. Now we bring him back, which I think is a huge addition. We signed him to a 3-year contract worth $33 million, $23 million guaranteed. So you bring Caden Ellis back, and I think, like I said, that is a great reunion because you lose Demario Davis. We send Demario Davis back home, been to where it all started for Demario Davis and y'all in the Jets community, and you bring Caden Ellis in, so it's a good addition, but you can't take away the leadership that Demario Davis brought. That's just something you can't replace. Noah Fant, tight end out of Seattle. Adam, I know you know more about this guy than I do, but we signed him to a 2-year, 875 million dollar contract. I think that's a fair contract just to see where he is. A lot of people were saying he was injury prone at times, but he is very productive.
He's productive when he's on the field for sure. Yeah. I mean, that's an affordable deal too. I think you guys will be happy with that.
Right, and then plus it'll add some depth to the tight end room because we just lost Foster Moreau. I cannot remember who signed him, but it was a nice addition to have him, and he's not just a regular tight end. He's a really good tight end. He's just an injury prone situation that we'll kind of have to see where he's at physically. So I think a 2-year contract is very fair. Now Ryan Wright. Now I know most of you are going to be asking, why did the Saints sign a punter? Well, to sum all that up, we signed this guy out of Minnesota. We signed him to a 4-year, $14 million, $8 million guaranteed because of the fact we don't really technically have a punter. We did have a punter, but I guess Mickey Loomis decided to, hey, let's go with a local, a very good punter. And Ryan Wright, he's not a regular either. He's a really good punter. If you watch the highlights of him, his punts go over 30 yards at most, 30 yards or more. So he's got a leg. So I think that is very huge, especially in game time situations or in any situation for us. Last thing, Ty Chandler. He was a running back out of Minnesota. Now, there have not been any terms disclosed at this time, but Ty Chandler, he is a running back. He was also out of Minnesota, but I honestly think that's a special teams addition or just a depth position at the running back position. Now, key departures and rumors. Most of you all know Demario Davis, the heart of the defense, for us for years, signed a 2-year, $22 million contract to return to New York Jets. Alontae Taylor, I was kind of hurt that he was gone, but I kind of understood it later on. Left for a massive 3 year, $60 million contract with the Tennessee Titans. Alvin Kamara, following, Mr. Travis signing, rumors of a trade have intensified. Kamara previously stated he would rather retire than be traded from New Orleans, but his future remains the biggest question mark of the offseason. Foster Moreau, like I said, okay, I'm glad I actually wrote this down because I didn't even think about it earlier. He's expected to sign with the Houston Texans. I meant to change that. He actually did sign with the Houston Texans. Quick analyst, guys. I don't mean to take too much time. I'm trying to wrap this up as quick as possible. Y'all work with me. Offensive identity. The signings of David Edwards and Mr. Travis Epstein Jr. signal a shift toward a more physical, run-first approach to support Tyler Shaw. I think that is a very important situation especially for a young quarterback who's developing in the NFL, and he'll only get better from here. Special teams fix. After years of punting struggles, guys, the team spent big on Ryan Wright stabilizing the field position game. Linebacker transition. Like I just said before, bringing back Caden Ellis on a very linchpin deal is a direct answer to losing Demario Davis. Production, though his veteran leadership, like I just stated before, will be hard to replace. For the sake of time, I might get into this later if we have time. But as far as the Kamara and Alvin Kamara and Cameron Jordan situation, I'm going to save this for another time if we have time in the episode. But I think Deuce, you were next, bro.
Yes. So this offseason, I know all Cowboys fans came into the offseason saying we need to fix our defense. And what did Jerry go and do? He went and signed Eagles assistant coach Christian Parker. He is a very young defensive coach that is very known around the NFL community. Even Jerry allowed him to bring his own staff. So it's showing that Jerry is listening to the fans. Now, this offseason, we have paired Rashawn Gary back up with Kenny Clark from Green Bay. That was a trade. At first, I was kind of iffy because everybody thought Max Crosby or Trey Hendrickson was going to go to Dallas. A lot of people thought that. But hey, you pair up Kenny Clark and Rashawn Gary. They already had the chemistry there. Two players that played with each other for a long time in Green Bay. I like that. And you pair them up with Quentin Williams and Kenny Clark. We traded Osa Digizua away to the the 49ers. Really, for a third round pick. I'm kind of iffy about it, but I know it was to clear up cap space for, hopefully we sign another player to go off of this. We also signed Jalen Thompson and Kobe Durant and PJ Locke to improve the defense. Those are three good, very valuable players on the defense to have. Cowboys were very weak in the secondary last year. A lot can remember it was one of the Dallas's biggest issues last year. Really wasn't getting to the quarterback. It was a secondary allowing yards. So hopefully we see, what else goes on. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but we signed Otito Ogbania. I don't know how to pronounce it, to a 1 year, $5 million contract, also to fix the defensive line. 1 second, because I did have a graph pulled up. Hold up 1 second. Yeah, so right now on our current defensive line, we got Quentin Williams, Odo Ogbania. I don't know how to pronounce that. Kenny Clark, Rashawn Gary. At the linebacker room, we got Demario Overshawn, Shamar James, Donovan Ezeraku. I will hope that Dallas goes for a linebacker in the draft. I know the good linebackers like Styles and them, they may go a little bit earlier, so Dallas may have to pivot to another player. Unfortunately, I don't have a mock out right now, but I will get one to y'all just now that I'm thinking about it. But if I would have to give the Cowboys offseason, I give it a B plus. To finish it off, you just got to draft well. And, Jerry Jones normally drafts well on draft night. He did pretty well last year with Tyler Booker, and he had a pretty good draft in my eyes overall last year, getting Donovan Ezeraku in the second round, who, if played longer, would have been higher up in the defensive rookie of the year ratings, because what he did on the defensive side of the field as a rookie was phenomenal. But to start the next topic, sorry, I had a brain fart. To pass over to the next topic, the NFL draft is just a couple. I'll say a month away. Yeah, a month away
now. Yeah,
and we've been seeing a lot of mocks coming out. I know Ben has been having his mocks out every week. I post them, or he posts them on the Inside the Locker Room account. Make sure you check those out. But Ben, to start this off, what is your thoughts on this mock draft?
So, I mean, the newest sort of change to everybody's mock this week is going to be, of course, the Jalen Waddle trade that we had a couple of days ago that we had happen. And the Dolphins receive a first round pick and some other things as well for their star receiver. But yeah, we sort of see Miami blowing everything up, and now they have another first round draft pick, and they join other teams as well who have more than one first round draft pick. And I think what's going to be, interesting going into this year's draft compared to last year's is that I feel some teams are going to have sort of, wild cards that they can pull out in terms of directions that they can go. Do we see the Giants potentially picking a running back? Or I mean, we keep talking about this Jeremiah Love sweepstakes. I think it's going to be super cool to see where he ends up ultimately. But sort of all these great linemen as well. We get the Monroe Freelings of the world and the Vega Iones, of course. And we have to, of course, shout out CC Maui Noah up in that mix, considerably the best offensive lineman. We have talked a whole bunch, obviously, about the NFL draft, and you can see all of our, quick little videos on all of our top prospects that me and Adam have made. Those are very fun videos. So go ahead and watch those. But yeah, I'm super excited to get down there in Pittsburgh in about a month, heading soon. Adam, are there any new chirpings or anything that you've sort of changed to your mock this week or recently this time
And do you
around?
want me, Adam? You want me to put your mock up on the screen?
Yeah, you can throw it up there if you want. Yeah, I'll look up my phone because my screen's tiny. But yeah. The biggest change I had was now Jeremiah Love. This is my first one post combine and post like the initial free agency phase. Jeremiah Love just tore up the combine. He ran like the exact same time as Jahmyr Gibbs, but he's got a much bigger frame. So it's kind of scary to think about the possibilities. Landing spot's going to be like the biggest thing for him right now on the Titans. Might hold him back a little bit. It's the first time I've had him that high. Previously, I had him going to the Chiefs at 9, but now the Chiefs have Kenneth Walker, so obviously that changes things quite a bit. The interesting thing is, me and Ben were talking about this a little bit before the show. If Maui Noah were to not go 3 of the Cardinals like I have there, they would be really tempted to take him with the Titans for the Titans because Cam Ward played with him, and I think they would do that. And if that were to happen, I don't know where Jeremiah Love would go. The Giants, I think, would be horrified to take him for like another Saquon Barkley type of scenario. The Browns have Quinshawn Judkins and Dylan Sampson. And then, I mean, like the Commanders would be like the first logical spot, but like Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt was solid, not amazing. So that spot would make sense. But I think Sonny Styles, like I would rather take a defensive anchor than a running back anyway. So like you could see him slide potentially at that point because now you have the Saints already have I always called him Etienne. He just came out recently, and apparently his name is pronounced like you're supposed to pronounce it the same as Devin Achane. He said when he just showed up in college, people just started calling him Etienne, and he tried to correct them for a couple of weeks, and then just gave up on it. But I guess he's clearing the air now. So it's Trevor Achane is apparently the way he wants people to say his name now. But now he's in New Orleans, so yeah. Look, I don't know where Jeremiah Love's going to go after that. So I've got Ruben Bain now going to the Chiefs. I think I just think he's going to be an absolute stud on the Chiefs. I don't need to go completely through this, but like the big one that Ben was talking about, we had the Jalen Waddle trade. So now I've got Jordan Tyson getting taken at 11, and I know there's the injury concerns. Ben was saying there's a recent report that he might have just messed up his hammy a little bit, or might have just aggravated his hammy. But the tape is undeniable. The talent's undeniable. I think to get Malik Willis a weapon, they kind of have to do it because you just paid Malik Willis all this money and then you trade Jalen Waddle. It's a really confusing scenario if they don't get weapons, or maybe they try to move back from there and get more weapons. But I'm really kind of confused by them if they don't take Jordan Tyson, or they could take Mekhi Lemon there. But yeah,
I would throw even a Kenyon Sadiq even there at 11.
Yeah.
Because
true.
Malik Willis would start out with just a bookend tight end that he knows it's going to be there for the next 10 years possibly. But I totally agree with everything you've been saying for the Miami Dolphins. As we've said on the show previously, and now they basically have nobody right now. So they're in full rebuild mode, and they're gonna have to build through this draft and through the rest of the offseason if they honestly even want to smell some wins next year. Because I could tell you right now, I think the teams competing for the #1 pick next year could be the Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets. So that's I guess how you could see how Miami's offseason has been going.
And
One thing
Adam,
I will say with the Dolphins. Sorry, go
I
ahead,
see
dude.
that you took CJ Allen at 20. I like that pick.
Yeah. I was gonna get into that. Thank you for
I have
reminding
him
me.
going
Yeah.
there as
So,
well.
the previous draft I had Ruben Bain falling a little bit. He was going 12, but now Bain's off the board. So then they get the second best cornerback in the draft with Jermon McCoy. I think if Delaney were to somehow fall, that would be a dream scenario. But you get a cornerback that should be an instant starter, assuming he's healthy, because he does have some injury red flags a little bit, just current injuries. And then, like you said, CJ Allen at 20, get that defensive anchor in the next level for the linebacker room. He's a beast. Played for Georgia. Played in that SEC. So a lot of Cowboys fans are coming at me for taking 2 edge. So they got exactly what they wanted. They got their cornerback and they got their linebacker now.
I think the Cowboys are, very much contenders for double dipping in the first round. I mean, we saw how bad their defense was last year, so I could totally see them doing
100%.
that. And CJ Allen at 20 would be a remarkable pick, and I have him going there as well to Dallas.
Nice. Yeah. Seems like we're in agreement on quite a few of these picks. Monroe Freeling's a guy that we talked about on one of those offensive line videos. I was really high on him, and I was saying as soon as the combine happens, he's probably going to keep rising. He had a few flaws at the combine, but his measurables stood out to everyone. Now people just see him as this prototypical left tackle. So I've seen people put him as high as the Browns pick at 7, or was it? Yeah, at 6.
Number 6.
Browns at 6. So I think it's a little high for him. I've had him going to the Lions this entire time. At this point, he could go higher because maybe the Rams see him as just this like perfect prototypical guy that they could take at 13. So there's so many ways this draft could go. I can see a ton of trades happening as well. But just real quick to wrap up my little draft talk, I'll just talk about the Seahawks a little bit. So right now, Colton Hood is sitting there at 32. So I had the Seahawks taking him to be the CB3 replacement, hopefully. By most people, he's rated as the 3rd best cornerback. Some people would put maybe a few other guys in front of him. But if the Colton Hood wasn't there, Avion Terrell, who gets taken in this mock a few picks before, that's a possibility. Or Brandon Cisse was was another popular pick a couple weeks ago. He's dropped a little bit since the combine, but that's another guy. Colton Hood just kind of that like lanky 6 foot. Just seems like he would be a fit with the Seahawks. But if they don't go cornerback, Chase Basantes, I had going off the board a few picks earlier to the Texans. If he was on the board, that's another guy. He would fit right in. The 1 weak link in the Seahawks line. I can't believe I'm saying that because they're all weak links last year except for Charles Cross. Now pretty much everything's fixed except for Anthony Bradford would be the weakest link. So if they were to take Chase Basantes, then you could instantly slide him in for Anthony Bradford, I believe at right guard. And then they could also take defensive line. Best available would be Zion Young would be a guy that didn't go in this mock. He would be sitting there. TJ Parker or Cassius Howell and Keldrick Falk, who just went a few picks before in this mock, would also be possibilities. And then the Seahawks love to trade back. They only have 4 picks in this draft. They have a ton next year, but they only have 4 in this draft. So it wouldn't surprise me to trade back from 32, pick up a 2nd and maybe a 3rd or a 4th, depending on where you're trading back to, and just collect more capital because John Schneider loves that. I wouldn't be mad at that at all, but I think it's a good spot to be at because there's so many good players that are falling towards the end of the late round, and I think no matter what, all these teams are going to get a good player.
And Ben, I do have your mock draft. I saw it last second. If you just want to highlight some picks really quick.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I was just looking at Adams just now, I like that we both have Avion Terrell going to the Kansas City Chiefs. That fills in kind of the Trent McDuffie void they kind of left now with him leaving the team. So I certainly like that pick. And I feel like with some of the teams kind of like in the 20s, like we look at the Chargers, they're at 22. The Browns there at 24. Assuming they don't go offensive line there at number 6, I feel like it's going to be really interesting to see what sort of group of offensive linemen are sitting there because, look at teams before them, like the Lions are going to need offensive line help, certainly. The Baltimore Ravens, and then, we're thinking LA as well. I mean, what offensive lineman can you name on the Los Angeles Rams right now? So that's just a blaring need for that team. So I think it's just going to be interesting to see what linemen are there sitting in the 20s once we start getting into this draft. I have Jeremiah Love obviously going number 5 still, and I know it doesn't make that much sense for them in terms of how they treated the whole Saquon saga, but if they want to give Jackson Dart a cushion, that's the best cushion they could give him. Honestly, a pass catching running back that could just be a playmaker. The Giants signed Darnell Mooney in the offseason. So to just give Jackson Dart more playmakers, I think that's the direction to go at number 5 for the New York Giants. But I could also see a Caleb Downs, happening, pairing in New York for the Giants as well, because we know how Harbaugh loves his safeties. So things things to take into consideration as we get closer and closer to the NFL draft. And as we said, it's in 1 month, so we're getting closer, and I honestly can't wait. Uh, at least one of us will be down there in Pittsburgh, so you'll see our coverage there once we get down there.
You will, Michael. So, what is your thoughts currently on the LA Tech and the conference custody battle with the Conference USA and the Sun Belt? Because I know, like I said before, we talked about it last week. So just what is your thoughts on that? Because, if it's not going to get fixed now, it's going to, like we said, eventually it's going to start leading into more legal troubles with both conferences. But just your quick rundown.
Oh, I don't think Mike can hear you.
Yeah, I can't. I can hear everyone else, but I can't hear him.
So it was he wants you to do the rundown on what was it? It was LA Tech and Sunbelt.
Oh yeah, yeah. So like Deuce basically said earlier, I basically spoke about this on the HBCU content, but for you, Adam, and Ben, and for some of the people that don't know, this is basically notes that I took from the last episode with HBCU when we was doing our HBCU segment. Excuse me. So, guys, as of March of 17, 2026, Louisiana Tech is at the center of a complex legal and scheduling custody battle. I put that in parentheses between Conference USA and the Sun Belt Conference. The dispute escalated to the point where the Bulldogs are currently listed on the 2026 football schedules of both conferences, creating a hypothetical 20-game season. Now, guys, I got to be honest with you, but for a college team to play 20 games in one season, I think that is very overboard, but I will explain all of that in just a moment on why all of that went down. But the pettiness in the scheduling is what I call this next topic because this dispute reached a peak this week when both conferences released their 2026 football slates. Now, Conference USA released its schedule first on March 12th, including Louisiana Tech as a member. The Sun Belt Conference followed a day later, okay, also including Louisiana Tech in its West Division. Now, as far as Louisiana Tech goes, now what does this have to do with Tech? Here it is. Tech then issued its own official press release announcing a 2026 football schedule featuring 8 Sun Belt Conference matchups, completely ignoring Conference USA slate. Now, here's the current legal status, guys. The University of Louisiana system filed a lawsuit against Conference USA on March 4th, 2026, seeking an injunction to force the move. Now, here's the part that's going to trip you out because it tripped me and Deuce out. A judge recently denied an immediate temporary restraining order. Let me let that sink in for a second. A judge recently denied an immediate temporary restraining order. Guys, that don't even make no sense to me. Me and Deuce could do nothing but shake our heads when I read this and I looked this up before the HCU segment. But here it is. A critical court hearing is scheduled on for Thursday, March 19th, 2026, which, here it is expected to provide more clarify on which conference the Bulldogs will actually play in the fall. Now, here it is. The Conference USA currently holds the media rights to Louisiana Tech's 2026 home games through its deals with CBS Sports and ESPN. While, here it is, the Sun Belt's rights are exclusively with ESPN, further complicating the broadcast of any games until a resolution is reached. Now, if you were to ask me, what is the root of all this? Glad you asked. Here's the root. I call this the root causes of the conflict. Because here's the root of the conflict, guys. Bylaw and notice dispute. Congress USA bylaws require a 14-month notice for a school to withdraw. Louisiana Tech officially accepted its Sun Belt invitation on July 14th, 2025, which Conference USA argues was too late to allow for a July 1st, 2026 departure. Now, if that's now, before I give you a more rundown on this, now if that was the rule between Conference USA and Tech, then by what I read to you is Tech basically did not follow the rule procedure that Conference USA had for departures. But here's the next thing: stalled financial settlement. Guys, the two sides have failed to reach a financial agreement for an early exit fee. Louisiana Tech, excuse me, Louisiana Tech reportedly offered approximately $480,000 plus forfeited distribution, while Conference USA has pushed for a much higher figure, reportedly over, here it is, $5 million to compensate for a lost venue and late notice. Now, here's the Sun Belt membership needs. After Texas State left for the revamped Pac-12 conference, the Sun Belt needs Louisiana Tech to join by 2026 to complete its 14-team membership and balance its West Division. Now, last thing, the strategic and regional benefits. Louisiana Tech is eager to leave because the Sun Belt offers shorter travel distance, more regional rivalries, like I said earlier when we first heard out about this, with Louisiana Lafayette and Louisiana Monroe, basically the battle of the Bayou, battle of the Boot, battle of Louisiana, whatever you want to call that, and a more stable conference environment compared to shifting Conference USA. Now, why escalate the two schedules? Well, it's kind of like how I stated before, but here's the rundown. Because negotiations stalled, both conferences took aggressive public stances to assert the rights over the program. Like I said, Conference USA included Louisiana Tech on its march to a schedule to maintain its legal claim of broadcast rights obligations. The Sun Belt, number two, released its own schedule the next day, including the Bulldogs to signal that they are ready to welcome them immediately. But Louisiana Tech responded by issuing its own announcing the following Sun Belt schedule, effectively ignoring its Conference USA commitments. Now, here's the resolution of all this. Because if you were to ask me, like, okay, Mike, how is this going to be resolved? Well, here it is. A federal court hearing is scheduled for Thursday, March 19, 2026, which is expected to finally determine which conference or school will belong to this fall. Now, guys, I honestly sit here and think, when you think about all this, for some that don't know, Conference USA and the Sun Belt Conference never really got along for years. And this is not the first time that this has happened with Conference USA and the Sun Belt teams leaving Conference USA, going to the Sun Belt Conference. But by law, the Conference USA has a rule that 14 months notice needs to be notified before a team can move. So I'm guessing that Tech did not follow this rule, which has caused this dispute to happen between both conferences. Now, I honestly think it shouldn't even be this serious. But like I said before, these two conferences, they have not gotten along for years. It's been like this since I was a kid. You know, Sun Belt Conference, they don't like Tech, and Tech don't. I mean, I'm sorry. Conference USA don't like Sunbelt, and Sunbelt don't like Conference USA. So it's
That's what it
always
sounds
been,
like. It
it's
sounds like a
always been,
petty battle.
it's
Battle of
always been
pettiness.
like, and this is just the icing on the cake right here, Adam. And I honestly think that I don't think a lawsuit should even been necessary. But it's kind of sad that the University of Louisiana systems had to get in this, and then not only that, a judge had to reject it, and now it's in a court hearing came up. I mean, honestly, I don't know what the judge saw in this, and I don't even know who the judge was. But I honestly think that there's something else behind this on why this judge denied this. It could be a 14-month notice thing, but like I said, I honestly think between you and me, guys, I really don't think this shouldn't even been that serious. But like I just said before, I think it's deeper than Tech just going to the Sun Belt Conference. I believe, in my opinion, I could be wrong, but I honestly think this is not shouldn't even be this necessary as it already has gotten. Because you see, it's gotten worse. Because now a court hearing it is set.
Yeah. And Michael, we said this last week that it shouldn't have to get to that point. But to segue into our next topic, opening day is right around the corner. And last season, I think, was probably one of the best baseball seasons I've ever witnessed. Seeing the Blue Jays go all the way to the championship, the World Series, I mean, and they were so close to being the Dodgers. That was probably one of the best 7-game series of all time. And then, not to mention, the round before that with the Mariners and the Blue Jays, that was also a legendary series. I believe that both teams, Mariners and the Blue Jays, with their additions, well, I could say, Adam, I'll let you speak on the Mariners, but for the Blue Jays, I can say this: I feel like for the players that they've lost, they've replaced very well. You know, and just seeing what they've been doing in spring training has kind of started to open my eyes up. You're saying like this team has hope again, to
Mhm.
win their division again. But it's always you always got to worry about the Yankees because the Yankees are still a team that you have to worry about, and
Red Sox are coming too.
Red Sox too. They're still young. They're getting their players back. But Adam, the Mariners was there anything that you heard or anything just leading up to opening day?
I mean, yeah, I think the biggest thing was re-signing Josh Naylor long term. That one had to happen, so I was happy that happened really, really quickly. Going into the off season, the biggest one is trading for Brendan Donovan, who was an all-star last year, and he's a utility man. He can play every single position on the baseball diamond. You can play all the outfield positions. Probably won't see him in center, but he could play either of the corner positions any given day. We'll probably end up playing him a lot at third base and at second base. But like I said, he's a utility guy. You can put him anywhere. And what he offers is what the Mariners are not great at. We swing and miss a lot, but we hit a lot of home runs. He's the ultimate contact guy. He gets a lot of bats on baseballs, doesn't strike out a ton. And he's mashing in spring training too. He had like a 4-for-4 day just a couple days ago. He's batting like 420 or maybe higher than that now in the preseason and the spring training. So, and he's the one player that's been there constantly. So, I mean, the Mariners spring training record's atrocious, but Julio Rodriguez was playing for Dominican Republic. Cal Raleigh was on the U.S. team. Countless other players. Yeah, you had players all over. You had Randy Rosarina on Team Mexico. So finally, they're starting to round back into form, and they got everyone back, and they scored like 14 or 15 runs in the first inning a couple days ago. It was like ended up being like 20-4 or something like that by the end of the game, and everyone got right. Julio Rodriguez was mashing, Cal Raleigh was mashing, Cole Young, who was a rookie last year, had a lot of bright spots, but also a lot of rookie woes too. So he looks amazing so far this spring training. He's got like 6 home runs in spring training alone. So super stoked. Mariners basically bringing back everyone. And the best part is they were able to trade for an all-star, and they did not have to give up. I think Durangelo Cinche, switch pitcher, was the best prospect they gave up. He was like the 9th best prospect, and then they gave up Harry Ford, catching prospect. But we've never seen them play for the Mariners, so to get like a guy that was an all-star last year that could play every single position, help the Mariners everywhere, for 2 guys that maybe they would end up being very good, but get to keep all of the other like top 7, top 8 prospects. Huge win for the Mariners, and yeah, Mariners are ready to run it back and hopefully win the division again. I don't remember the last time they won back-to-back years, probably like early 2000s. So yeah, super excited. Astros didn't really get stronger. They're still going to be annoying. A lot of people are picking the A's to be super improved, which I understand. They have a ton of talent. Nick Kurtz, to me, is already the best first baseman in baseball. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, like you said, the AL East going to be a dogfight like always. And yeah, can't wait for the baseball season. Opening day is going to be awesome.
Can't wait. And Ben, did you have anything on the Red Sox before I segue into our final topic?
I mean, it's pretty much just going to be the Roman Anthony show from going forward. They're
Yep.
going to be, betting all their marbles on him and just hoping everybody else could do, good after him. They still have some solid bats out there with Yoshida and, Rafaela and, a couple other guys. But, Roman Anthony is going to be the show that most Sox fans are going to be looking forward to this year. And I am too.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch him.
And I know we didn't have no basketball topic on here, but I just want to say shout out to the Lakers, 9 straight.
For sure.
Also shout out to
and the
Luke
Hawks,
Kennard.
10 straight.
Yeah, the Hawks. You know what's crazy to me is how improved the Pistons had did from last season to this season. They're just currently sitting atop of the East. They look like one of the most dangerous teams in the league behind the Thunder, and I say behind the Thunder and the Spurs. But
The biggest, my fault. Keep going.
No, you can go real quick, Ben. You can go.
I was gonna say the biggest prayers up to Cade Cunningham. He got diagnosed with a collapsed lung. He might be out for the year. Actually, I don't know if that's gonna happen or what's the update with all of that. But certainly prayers up for my guy Cade Cunningham, MVP candidate for this year. But ultimately, I think honestly, Shy might be going back to back here with MVPs. And maybe even an NBA Finals trophy. But we'll see what happens with OKC. I feel like OKC's been sort of odd team to follow this year. I know Jalen Williams was just cleared of protocols actually a couple hours ago, so their squad is going to be fully healthy again. I don't know if Hartenstein's back yet, but yeah. The West is, starting to shape form, and certainly the East as well with their teams. So yeah, the NBA I've been following very closely this year. It's been great to watch.
Who do y'all got winning MVP so far? Just leading.
I gotta say SGA is leading. Definitely the heavy betting favorite. But at the beginning of the season, I said Luka was gonna win an MVP this year, and then all of a sudden, people are like, "Well, Luka's got the best numbers," and now the Lakers are 1-9 straight. And people hate on Luka's defense, but he's actually one of the best on-ball defenders for his position this year, which is kind of mind blowing. He's getting steals too, and he's come up with a couple clutch blocks. So I mean, I'm still putting my money on Luka just because it's great odds right now. SGA is a really hard one to bet on because he's so heavily favored. Jokic had his chance where he was gonna maybe make some noise, but I think he's missed too many games. And more importantly, the Nuggets they're like battling to stay out of the play-in right now. So
yeah,
they kind of flip spots with the Lakers, honestly.
Yeah, they'll like randomly drop a game to the Warriors. I remember that game clear as day. I mean, they were playing in San Francisco, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's the NBA at the end of the day, but sometimes you just look at some of these lineups and you see the final box score and you're just like, how on earth did that happen?
Yeah. And sometimes it's the under the radar trades. People wanted the Lakers to make a big splash. All they got was Luke Kennard. And I say all they got, but like he's making a huge impact.
He's been hitting his threes.
Yeah, he's shooting almost 57% from the field. And then he's almost doing like 60-40-90, which is crazy. And yeah, he's just came up with that clutch buzzer beater last night. But like he's just changing the entire Lakers because that's what they lack. They lack that one guy that could just drain the shots. Rui's really good for corner threes, but he's not super duper consistent catch and shoot every single time, like all around the arc. Kennard's just, and he's actually way better of a dribbler than I thought. Like great ball handler. They're just letting him loose. They're telling him not just like, I mean, yeah, shoot all your open shots, but like don't be afraid to dribble the basketball. And he's doing that. He's a way better playmaker than I ever thought he was. And it's awesome to see how just one little acquisition can open everything up. And yeah, the Lakers are playing defense again. So I hope it's not fool's gold like last year where they ended the season with amazing defense and then all of a sudden the Timberwolves just completely annihilated them. So I'm hoping that's not the case again this year. It seems like they're kind of playing all together. And Marcus Smart is a guy that wasn't there last year. He's capable of really good defensive performances, former defensive player of the year. And LeBron, most importantly, is just like really accepted that like third man role, that like off the ball role. And I think the key is just you don't play LeBron, Reeves, and Luka all on the floor at the same time too often. You just like two out of three at any given time, and then you're always able to keep like an extra good defender on the floor. But they're capable of defense, and we've seen Luka how much he stepped up the season on defense. So hopefully it continues into the postseason.
Yeah, I
Michael.
think. Oh, my fault. I was gonna say real quick that I think Rui and Marcus Smart are gonna have to kind of pick up DeAndre Ayton scraps when it comes to defending, because he honestly hasn't worked out that well this year for the Lakers, and it's honestly sad to see the way he's kind of sort of going out here in the rotation, honestly, because we haven't even seen him that much lately. So
he's rallied a little bit lately. I will say his tape against Jokic the other night. He played some really good defense on Jokic when they beat the Nuggets. But yeah, no, he's been in and out of the rotation. You're right for sure. You're gonna go to Michael Deuce.
Yeah, Michael. I was just asking, did you have any updates or anything about the Pelicans?
Yeah, I was gonna say, as of this month, the New Orleans Pelicans' strengths lie in their high potential offensive stars and deep roster versatility and young talent. Now, despite of their record, guys, right now, we're saying 25-47. That's not nothing to be proud of. But if you kind of look back from how we first started, there's actually some production that's slowly coming late in this season. But there are some like bright spots that I want to touch base on as far as what the Pelicans. Zion's health and efficiency. For the first time in several years, Zion has maintained a consistent run of health, looking to spry and energetic. He remains a dominant force in the paint, averaging 21.3 points and 5.8 rebounds, while shooting a highly efficient 59.8 from the field. Trey Murphy the third. We basically call him Trey Murphy, but Trey Murphy the third's breakout year, emerging as a top tier two-way wing. Murphy leads the team in scoring with 21.9 points per game. Guys, he significantly improved his attack off the dribble. It remains a critical floor spacer and versatile defender. Now, Devontae Murray's return. He had that Achilles. He's been out for a good minute, but his return has been very electrifying in the Smoothie King Center. It's been electrifying in the Pelicans gameplay. After missing a significant time due to his Achilles rupture, like I just stated, Murphy has returned to form, leading the team in assists, providing veteran leadership as a do-it-all guard. Rookie and young talent depth. The emergence of second-year center Yavis Messi, who recently averaged 9 rebounds and 2.5 blocks over a 6-game stretch. The addition of the 2025 lottery pick, Derek Quinn, gives the team as a much stronger interior presence than in previous seasons. And I also got to say, guys, I think the Pelicans are really have found a system of energetic. Well, let me say it's a rhythm of energy. Let me put it that way. Like I said, Devontae Murray's return, Derek Quinn, and DeAndre Jordan, who's been a very, very good leadership on that bench, especially with Derek Quinn and Jeremiah Fears. Those guys have been showing their elite skill set. Jeremiah Fears, a very, very small guard, but he's very versatile. He's very quick. He has good ball handles. He has a really good floor vision. The Pelicans are starting to find something that you really wish they would have found earlier in the year. But with the firing of Coach Green and then just transition around, with head coach, and then we have an intern. He possibly might end up being our head coach next year, but I highly doubt that. I don't know what Mr. Dents is going to plan on doing. I will say the disappointing part about it is, and I kind of knew this going forward that without us having a first round pick, it's kind of hard to specifically say where the Pelicans are going to be in the first round. I wish that we would did some kind of trade to where we can get a first round, but I'm guessing Mr. Dem sees something that the Pelicans really don't need a first round. I know that doesn't make any sense. I don't think that's what he's thinking. I hope that's not what he's thinking. But maybe there's something in this roster that we're not seeing, or is there something that we can build off of with this time that we already have? Because, like I said, in the past previous games, the Pelicans have found a way to maintain a streak. They found ways to score more. They found ways. They fixed the minor problems. But now it's just more like there are still some problems that are still occurring. On my birthday, shout out to them. They beat the 76ers at the Smoothie King Center. Um, and what I saw in that game, Jordan Poole, he's also another factor. He's there's a lot of good depth in this roster. The only thing is that what is with the coaching situation? What is it going to be like in the offseason? And then plus, will the Pelicans, will they automatically out of nowhere maybe get back a first round pick? It's highly doubtful. But I honestly think right now, despite of the record, I honestly see a lot of progression in this team, and it's hopefully we can continue to build on this throughout the end of this year and hopefully finish a lot better than we started. But I honestly can tell you guys this, despite the Pelicans not being the hottest team, but they are really itching their way according to Louisiana Sports Radio Station. They specifically made a post earlier this week basically stating that the Pelicans are neck to neck behind I think it was the Warriors in that play-in spot, but it's highly doubtful that the Pelicans will even reach that point. But it's good to hear, that they're, right behind the Warriors because we were dead last in the Western Conference, and now we jumped up to the 11th spot or the 12th spot. So there is a lot of depth. There is a lot of breakouts here, and hopefully that this team can stay healthy enough, we can finish out a lot better than we started. So there's a lot of promising factors with the Pelicans. It's just more of now, there it needs to be some necessary approaches that the front office and John Dix needs to take a stand on if he wants the Pelicans to be not looked at as the losing team, but looked at as the winning team going forward to the future. Now, as far as Stephen A's comment, I mean, I would get into that, but for the second time, I'm not going to do that. But honestly, I honestly think that you can't compare yourself to a franchise because you're basically saying that you're better than a poor team. You're better than any NBA team or any NBA player because of the money that you have. And what I can basically tell Stephen A about that is that you're only seeing what you're hearing, and you don't understand a rebuild because you never had to. So you can't specifically say something about New Orleans if you can't back it up. So I honestly think that despite of what Stephen A said about New Orleans, the only thing I can say about the Pelicans is that progression is there. It just needs some necessary measures. And I honestly feel like if we attack those measures the right way, we could possibly end this season off on the right foot and possibly make some big splash in the off season. But it might not be too much without a first round pick.
Yeah, they got everything to play for because they don't have that first round pick, and that they have been looking a lot better. With Murray, they look like a completely different team. They keep upsetting teams, so I mean, I hope they get into the play-in and they're able to make their pick a little bit worse for. I forgot, was it the Hawks that they gave it to? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was the Hawks.
The Hawks. So I mean, the Hawks are now like cruising. They're out of the Trae Young drama now, and they also like. I remember talking about it before the NBA season, right after the NBA draft. And I remember us talking about Derek Queen. And like, I want to start by saying I love Derek Queen. I think he's been amazing. He's the only rookie this year at the triple double, I think, and he has two of them. So he's played amazing. Now he's coming off the bench. So gonna have to earn those minutes. But I just remember saying before the season, like, will they regret that? Because will they be good enough to not be in the lottery, basically? And this draft class is so good. Like, I've never seen a draft class this good as long as I've watched the NBA. It's got like the first 4 picks. It's hard to pick who's the number 1 pick because you got Darren Peterson, you got AJ Dibanza, you got Darius Acuff Jr., who looks like the next Allen Iverson. And then I didn't even mention Cam Boozer yet, who like a lot of people think Cam Boozer, like he's the player of the year and he could be the first
And
overall
some
pick.
people
So
still don't know if
it's
they're going to
crazy.
actually, and some people still don't even know if they're actually going to commit to the draft from how good they actually are. You know, with the, I don't know how to pronounce one, but the one from BYU, you never know.
AJ Dibanza.
Yeah, look, he's the one I think that's going to go first, but I have a feeling that he's going to want to stay an extra year. But it's just because the comments he's been making recently. But I think he's just been locked in. He was locked into the March Madness tournament. But look, he goes first overall. He's whoever gets him. I think that's a program changer. Can change it. And really the first 4 picks could all do that.
It's crazy.
So
It's crazy how good it is.
this is probably one of the best draft class I would say in the most recent years. Because a lot of teams will most definitely be getting better from this draft class. But the one thing I do want to say is really quick: if y'all are not watching the Iowa versus Florida game, Florida may actually just get upsetted by Iowa. Iowa just hit like a clutch 3, 4.5 seconds left. Yeah, 4.5 seconds left to go. But yeah, just to close up this this talk show. I don't know. I keep calling it, but to close off this talk show, stay tuned because March Madness is still going on. Opening day is going on. Spring sports are just now starting, so it's a lot to talk about. Hopefully, when we get more time, me and Adam will be on to talk about baseball throughout the season, like we did last year.
Sure.
It was pretty fun. A lot of lead changes throughout the whole year. So that's something that interesting to talk about. We also got on our HBCU platform, me and Michael. We will be interviewing some more players. We got a couple more basketball players. We have a football player, and we're going to try to get some baseball players. I know me and Michael did say we were going to interview some baseball players. Mike, I believe that you said that you were working on it to get us some baseball players on there. So that is into full effect. And always inside the locker room, we are trying to film and record weekly, but we do have busy lives. But when we do get together, we do make sure these episodes are packed with content. So like I always say, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share. Share this out to everyone. Look, in the summer, we were averaging about 100. So yeah, if everybody shares this out and y'all do y'all's part and help us, I think we can easily get 100, 250 views. We have the viewers on each one of our Instagrams, so support us as much as possible. And does anybody have any closing remarks?
Been a great year.
No, I think
Yeah, guys. Happy 1 year. Let's get it. This is only the beginning, guys. Our journeys are going to be very long going forward, but it's all going to be worth it.
Stay tuned for the
Our
draft.
hard work will pay off. And yeah, stay tuned for Pittsburgh, y'all. It's going to be lit.
Yeah,
Stay
I'm
tuned for
gonna
the draft.
say the Alvin Kamara and Jordan thing. I actually might make my own clip on that, and I might just send that to you, dudes, for the sake of time, because I got like a few things to touch base on, but for the sake of time, I might just make my own video and just send it out. 'Cause like I said, I wasn't sure what our time limit was. I know Adam said like maybe an hour, but yeah, I'm truly blessed to just be a part of this team. First of all, do shout out to you because you reached out to me and then I became a part of this crew. Ben, as always, Adam, as always, I'm highly grateful to be a part of this unit that we've built on this sports show, and I'm truly grateful and just praying that you know whatever God see best fit in the future for both of us. Because like I told you, it's highly possible we might have our own studio to where we can have like our own little platform and just record in like just a like a little studio or something like that. That I mean I don't know. That might not be what the future what God's future
Oh,
is
it's
for
coming.
us.
It's
But
coming.
I can honestly say that I'm
I got
excited
big
to
plans.
yeah, I'm just excited to be a part of this crew because I tell myself all the time, just look back at how you started. You were solo, and now you're part of a team, and that just makes it even more and more exciting. So, to the fans and to all you guys, I'm truly grateful. Every single day that I do these episodes, whether it's HCU or whether it's just Inside Locker Room in general, I'm really, really excited. I'm happy 1 year to all of you. Happy 1 year to all of our fans that are watching. Um, I'm just grateful. And until next time, grace and peace be upon y'all.
Yes, and the last thing I do have to say, if you want to be a guest, just feel free to DM any one of us. We are happy to have y'all on. You could be another host, you could be just another fan, you could even be a player. If you want to get on the talk show, just DM us and we will make it happen. But like I say, thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share. And have a good day and have a good evening.